Hello, beautiful. Great to see you for yet another Thursday Live with me, Professional Organizer Suzanna Kaye. It's wonderful to have you joining me today. This week, I'm super excited because we are talking about making decisions only once. Now, this has been a life changer for me. I don't know how many times in my past, as I was learning organizing and before I really understood organizing, um, how many times I would make the same decisions over and over again, except they weren't always exactly the same. I'd make a decision on the same thing, but the decision might be slightly different each time. And so it was inconsistent. And I had, I never knew quite where to find things. One time I decided to do this, and then the next time this, and then I'd have two places for a thing, especially with papers. So learning to make decisions only once was a game changer. Now, this is not the only touch it once principle, which you hear about all the time where, the second you touch something, you have to put it away and, never have another step in the process. And if you followed me at all, you know that I think that works for some things, but there are a lot of things that only touch it once does not work for. But only making decisions once works like a charm. So that is what we are focusing on today, is how to make decisions only once and how to remember them. Because that's the second half of the equation, right? It's great if you can make your decision, but if you don't remember what decision you made, then that means you have to remake that decision the next time, and it might not be exactly the same. So as you hop on, let me know who you are, where you're joining me from, and if there's anything that you're excited about hearing the topic, or if you like something I say and you think it's a good idea, then give me like a thumbs up or the heart, and remember to subscribe. So if you are on YouTube, then hit the little subscribe bell and make sure that you get notifications whenever I post a new video or go live. And if you're on Facebook, there's a little bell that you want to make sure to follow me. That's a bell, right? Bell-ish. Keep doing a heart. So make sure to subscribe and actually follow me and turn on the notifications so you can see within your Facebook when I go live. So I see Wendy's here. Welcome, Wendy. Oh, rainy Oregon. We just had a couple days of rain, which, long rain is not normal here in Central Florida. Normally it's, an hour and gone. So we just went through a big rainy patch, which was kind of nice. It cooled it down. Hopefully it is nice rain for you. Hey, Rita. Good to see Rita's here. And Karen from Massachusetts. Linda from the UK. My husband's over in the UK right now, Moose Pie. The company he works for is based out of the UK, so he's in the Brighton area. And I go out there usually once or twice a year now because he works out there, which is so nice. Beautiful in the UK. Hey, Vicky from Georgia. And Sue is here from Northeast Texas. Oh, that's awesome. Welcome. So as I mentioned, we are talking today about making decisions only once. That means that as soon as you come across the item, you make the decision. And sometimes that decision is a step in the process. If you're doing something like the onion method, it's not only touch it once. But when you grab an item, first off, you are going to make your decision right away. I'm actually going to do these out of order because it kind of makes more sense now that I'm saying it out loud. So number 2 is actually number 1. But clutter, whenever you see clutter around your home, it is usually just delayed decisions. That's all that clutter is. So what I mean by that is sometimes clutter happens because we pick something up, we're not quite sure where it goes, or we're in a hurry. We don't feel like doing that mental bandwidth, making that decision on that item. So we put it down. We're going to decide in a little bit or later, which we all know later is the death of clean counters. So that's one way that clutter is unmade decisions. It's that whole, okay, I will deal with this later. Another way that it's unmade decisions, sometimes you want to deal with it, but you're not sure where to keep it. So it ends up getting piled because it's either not easy to put away or you're not sure where to put it away. So it ends up on a counter or a surface. And that, again, is an unmade decision of where to store it. All of these unmade decisions build up, and they weigh on us because now the things that you're seeing out on your counters and surfaces all of those unmade decisions were the harder ones. Those were the harder decisions to make because the easy ones you put away. So now visually you're looking at all of your hard decisions. Now, if you make sure to make your decision as soon as you can. So there are times where you can't, the dogs are jumping up, you've got a handful of groceries and the kid's crying. You can't necessarily do everything right away. That is okay. But come back to it as soon as you can. Or when you're organizing, I see this all the time. When you're organizing and you pick something up and you go, oh, I'm not sure. And you kind of put it to the side. You don't even realize you're doing it, but you just put it to the side because you're not sure about the decision. Rein yourself back in and make that decision right away, because not only will that not add to the clutter with that item, but that's practice making those decisions. The more we practice making the harder decisions in the moment, the better we will get at it. So at first it's going to feel like a struggle, as most things do when we change. But if you practice making the decision as soon as it comes up, then it's going to get easier and easier, and your brain is going to get used to making those types of decisions. So the answer will come to you much faster. So if you make sure to practice it often, make your decision and take action right away, as soon as you touch it, as soon as you can, at least that first level decision. So if it's the onion method or into the action file, that's a first level decision. It might not be its final resting place, but it is into the system of getting there. And then in order to do this, also, sometimes these decisions are keep or go. So have storage spaces available for some of these decisions that are the leave the house or not sure. So a couple of things that I do in order to make these leaving the house or uncertain decisions easier. First off, I have a donation bin within my house at all times. Actually, I have several. So I have, one in my daughter's closet for all the clothes because she's growing so fast. So if it doesn't fit, she immediately puts it there. I have one in the back side of the house and one in the front side of the house. So that way, as soon as we decide we don't want something anymore, it goes into the bin to be donated. And when the bin's full, I just take the whole bin with me to drop off. And I say, I just want my bin back. And I don't look at what's inside. We've already decided it's donate. But unless it's from my daughter's closet, then it gets a review. But we drop off the whole bin. I say, give me back my bin. I don't want to see the stuff. And that way it gets out of the house. The other type of bin I have for those decisions where you're not quite sure if you will need it. So your instinct is, oh, I kind of want to keep it just in case, but I don't think I'll ever need it, so I'm not sure. Then I use a wait and see bin. So a wait and see bin is an opaque bin. You cannot see through it. We do not want a clear bin for this one. And this is the bin that you put everything that you're not sure about, that you think you want to donate, but you really kind of want to test to make sure that you don't need it first. And usually what I do with this bin is I will create a wait and see bin. And then once it starts to get full, I'll write a date on it, 6 months down the road or a year down the road. And anything that's still left in that bin, because I've not been adding new stuff to that bin once it's full. So there's usually 2 going. Anything that's still in that bin at the end of that date written on the side gets dropped off to donate, because you never pulled it back out in 6 months or a year, whatever your time period was. You never went back into the bin looking for it. So it's probably a safe bet that you won't need it. And if you do, it's so rare that you could probably borrow one if you needed one, versus keeping something that you would use less than once a year. So sight unseen, take the whole bin, say, I just want my bin back. And then that's the wait and see bin. And make sure that it's not see-through, because if you see the items again, then it's making the decision all over. And sometimes you'll pull them out and then you have to start the whole process all over again. So a wait and see bin and a donate bin are really helpful for some of those making that decision and getting it on its way, versus I don't know and leaving it around. Now, point number 2, and I know it says point number 1 will be next. But first off, I want to say hey to Irene. Hi, Irene. Good to see you. And Corinne. And if you're liking any of these tips, give me the thumbs up or the heart or something, because it helps promote my video so that I can do more of these. But great, Corinne. Oh, Colorado. I love Colorado with sunny blue skies. Those are the best days. I hope you get a chance to get outside. Hey, Doris. Good to see Doris and Mary Lou from my home state of Iowa. Rita, welcome. Good. Late's better than never, right? Hey, Cindy and Sheila. Catching a little late also, not a problem. Hey, Marcia and Pamela and Sheila loves the wait and see bin idea. Yes, it works really well, especially if you have kids or grandkids. And if you're not sure if they're going to miss that toy, if they're still really little and not able to make those decisions, stick it in the wait and see bin. If they ask for it, then it's so easy to go in and pull it back out. But if they never ask for it, then after a period of time, it can go away. So Rita's she says that she's saying hi to Cindy. Hey, Jill from Utah and Nancy from Chicago. That's awesome. I love having all of you here. Okay, like I said, I'm going in a different order. I know it says that it's number 2 was clutter is delayed decisions is actually number 1. So number 2 is write your decisions down. So the other thing that I find with clutter is the fear of forgetting what our decision was or where we decided to put something, so we leave it out. We're afraid and we leave things out because of fear. So if this works really well, for example, papers, writing down what your decision was about where you're going to file that type of paper. So if you're a paper path member or you're in the paper path course, one part of the course, we talk about the paper policy. Now, the paper policy is just a place where you can write down all of your paper decisions, both physical papers and digital files. It can be used for both. And for my Pathfinders, my members, at noon in your Facebook campfire group, I will be talking about how to use the paper policy for your physical and digital files even more. So we can talk more about making your decisions only once and really get that up and running if you've not gotten that started yet. But a paper policy is simply a place to record, all right, well, when bank statements come in, I've decided, to keep it for 1 year and then shred it. Or I've decided to go electronic, so I download it once a month and I save it in my external hard drive in the financial file under bank statements folder. Whatever that decision is, write it down, and you only have to write it down once, because then the next time a bank statement comes in, you can quickly look at your sheet and see what decision you made. And this not only helps you not have to have the stress of making that decision again, because each time you have to make the decision, your brain has to engage so much more than just doing the action. So the fewer decisions we can make, the better. But not only do you have to only make that decision once, but you can also be consistent. So with something like papers, being consistent is so important, because if one time you decide to file it one way and then another time you decide to file it in a different folder, then you're never going to find everything that you need easily. And that's one of the fears that a lot of us have, is if I file it away or if I create this system, I'm going to forget what my decisions were. So write your decisions down and it will make it so much easier. Another way that's not paper related to write some of your decisions down. For example, in the pantry, maybe there are certain items you always want to have a certain amount of stock of, but maybe sometimes you buy more, you're not sure, or you let it go too low and then you don't have what you need when you need it. So if you have a place where you're writing that type of decision down, that's really helpful. So for example, in my house, diced tomatoes. I love to make chilies and stews, and there are several recipes that always need diced tomatoes. So I try to keep at least 3 cans of diced tomatoes in my pantry at all times, because my biggest recipe that I ever make has 3 cans of diced tomatoes that I use. Now, I don't want to keep more than 3 cans because those things are big. They're big suckers that take up a lot of the pantry space, and I don't have an actual pantry. I just have a couple cupboards that I use as a pantry. So 3 cans is all I want to have. But I don't want to have less than 3 cans, because there's nothing like a giant bowl of disappointment instead of chili because you don't have enough diced tomatoes. So inside the cupboard, on the cupboard doors of my kitchen, I use that for all sorts of things. My reminders, my recipes that I use all the time. That's also a great place to put some of those standard things that you want to check that you always have a consistent level of. So your decision was you always want to have 3 cans of diced tomatoes. So on your pantry stock list, diced tomatoes, 3 cans, and you can make sure. And then when you're building your grocery list, or if you ask your spouse to build a grocery list and check the supplies, and they know, okay, well, I see we've got diced tomatoes. Do we have 3 cans of them? No, we only have 2. Buy 1 more can of diced tomatoes. It makes it so much easier without having to think, I don't remember how many cans I need for my recipe. Maybe I should just add another one onto the list, and you end up with 6 cans and no pantry space. So that's an example of how to record your decisions um, when they're not paper-based. Another way is if you decide that once a week you're going to check your action file. If you've followed me for any amount of time, then you probably know what the action file is for all of your incoming papers and mail. The action file, if you want to check it once a week, write it on your calendar now. So on your calendar, and these days with digital calendars, you can have multiple calendars. You can have a to-do calendar that you can hide and show as you need to on your phone. But if you still use a paper calendar, maybe you at the bottom of the day write all of the to-do type of stuff instead of the events. But just write it down in your calendar right now so that way you don't forget. And that is your decision. Your decision was every Saturday morning, I'm going to check my to-do folder and my action file. So every Saturday, write down, check to-do folder and action file. And that way you have recorded your decision. You don't have to decide when you're going to check the action file again. So hopefully that helps. Now, Cindy says that she did not write down all the names for the bins. Are they posted somewhere? I have that fear of forgetting. So for the bins, the 2 bins that I like to have with decision-making and getting things on their way to where they need to go. First off, I like to have a donate bin. So a donate bin, and I have several in my house, but they're just donate bins. The donate bin, if you've decided you don't want it anymore, then a place that's just easy to tuck it right into a donate bin. And for me, it's nice to have like a nice wicker basket with a lid. So it looks decorative. Nobody knows that it's all my junk that I'm passing on. It's not really junk, it's still nice stuff. But all my nice stuff that I no longer need, that I'm paying forward. That way, I can go to the living room, toss the little hand blender that I've decided I don't want into the donate bin, shut the lid. Nobody knows it's in there. When it gets full, I drop it off. The second bin is called the wait and see bin. If you're not sure that you're ready to donate it, if you think you might need it, but you're pretty sure you don't, then you can put it in the wait and see bin and make sure that it's not see-through. This one can be, in the garage or in a back closet. But the wait and see bin, after a certain period of time, if you've not pulled anything out of that bin, donate all the contents because you never pulled it out. So Rita says, do you have a typed list of those items in your kitchen cabinet, such as tomatoes, etc.? For me, I generally don't type my lists like that simply because I like to be able to change things frequently, and hopping back and forth to my computer to type things isn't my style. But for some people, they really like the neat look of a typed list and they don't mind hopping back and forth to type things up. That's fine too. Do whatever works for you. For me, I usually, those little dollar store magnetic notepads, I just grab one of those and I create my list, and I use my friction erasable pens like those. So that way I can always erase something on it and change it if my mind changes later, but I've got it written down. Linda says, we have a spreadsheet with grocery stock levels. Yay. I now get my son to check levels every week and do an online grocery order. Oh, that is perfect. And see, so you've already done it. You wrote down your decisions, and that way you don't have to make those decisions over and over again. So that's probably so much easier now, isn't it? It's probably such a relief. I love that. And Cindy says, I just put donation stuff in a bag. That works too. That works too, as long as you have a place for the donations to easily get out of the house. But when you don't have an easy place to put it, if you've not decided that it goes in a bag or something like that, then we tend to just put things right back in with our general supplies, and they don't get donated because we'll decide to do it later. And then, of course, we forget that we decided to donate that because it's just in with our stuff. Hey, Peg, good to see you. And Rita says that she likes Linda's idea. That's awesome. I love that. All right, so that was actually number 2. So just to review, number 1, clutter is just delayed decisions. So make sure to make your decisions right away. If it's donate, put it in the donate bin. If you think it's donate, you're not entirely sure, make the decision to put it in the wait and see bin. Don't wait until later. Make that decision right away. And the more often you make those decisions right away, the easier they will get. Number 2 is write your decisions down. So when you make a decision, in order to be consistent and always do the same thing from then on, and to relieve the anxiety of decision making, because each time we have to make decisions, that takes a lot of brain power, right? And the fewer decisions you have, the less anxiety you have. The way to do this is to write it down. So if it's papers, use a paper policy. If it is something like pantry stock levels, then keep a list of what stock levels you want right where you can find them nice and easy. Because tip number 3 is do not make recording your decisions a new full-time job. It's so easy to go way overboard with trying to record all of your decisions that you've now, instead of saving time on decision making, you are now spending more time recording your decisions. And we don't want that. So what you want to do is, instead of, massive lists on your computer and getting super perfectionist and nitpicky about it, keep it simple. Put reminders where they will find you about the decisions that you made, and just write down your decisions for the most common stuff. So this is what I mean by this. And let me know in the comments if you have ever come across these situations or if this resonates with you. But when I am putting reminders where they will find me, that's an example of that list that's already in the kitchen cabinet. I'm already going to be in the kitchen when I'm making the decision about whether or not to buy more diced tomatoes, probably, or whether to add more to the list. Usually I've pulled out diced tomatoes, then I pull out my little handy dandy grocery list app, wherever my phone went, and add it to the app right then. So that's right there in the cupboard. I don't have to search for the paper. It can't wander off. It's taped to the inside of the cupboard, and it's right where I can find it easily. Another example of putting reminders where they will find you, you can, a lot of times in my holiday bins, I actually put reminders for myself. So for example, in my Christmas holiday bin, or not Christmas, actually, Thanksgiving holiday bin, I keep a home maintenance checklist for fall. So that way, when I pull out my decorations for Thanksgiving, I also come across that checklist. And that checklist is now my reminder of my decisions about when I was going to do certain home maintenance tasks, such as check the fire extinguishers or clean out the gutters. There are certain things that I just like to do every spring and every fall. So I have one copy in my Easter bin, one copy in my Thanksgiving bin, and it never fails that I'm going to pull out those holiday decorations, and it never fails that I've forgotten that it's that time of year to do those home maintenance items. So when I see the checklist, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I can pull it out, I can put it in the fridge, work through it, and then when I pack up Thanksgiving, I put my new checklist for the next year right in that bin. So that's another way that your decisions, my decision of when to do these home maintenance tasks, can find you. Another way is maybe there are certain things that are location based. Like maybe you made a decision to every week. Maybe you decided every week you were going to record your productivity for the week and just kind of do an overall productivity check. If you followed me, then you probably have heard about, how hormones and all of these other external factors can affect your mood and productivity. So if you've decided to do that, then maybe in your desk drawer, if you know that at least once a week you go into your desk drawer, you have just a note. Don't forget, record your productivity. And then you can say where that you decided to record it, in the file on the desktop of your computer. And when you open the drawer, you can go, oh, that's right. And right where you decided to store it, that reminder found you. So put reminders where they can find you instead of you having to find them all the time. Another great example with that paper policy, if we can make it easy to find these decisions, the paper policy, one of the great places would be in your action file, keeping it in that separate folder that maybe has some supplies and your paper policy right in the action file, because that's where you're bringing your incoming papers and mail. So that's where you're making those decisions. So having that paper policy right there is already ready for you. So this way you don't have to try to make the decision-making recording a really long drawn-out process. Make sure that it's super easy to find the list and don't list everything, and get reminded of things without having to think to look for that reminder. Brenda says, great idea. And Rita says, question, is that bin that you mentioned, the wicker with the cover for the donate bin, is that in your Amazon store by chance? That's a good question. It might be. If it is, it's in the other things section. I think it's called other. But I'm going to write, reminder for myself. I'm going to write a note to make sure that it's in there. And if not, I will try to get that added in hopefully today after the Paper Paths live talk. So around 1-ish at the latest. Good question. Yeah, there's a couple of things that I'm adding to the store. Actually, I just added a favorite rolling cart yesterday, and there are some other things that I've recently added or will be adding. So hopefully that helps. All right. So as a recap with our decision making, remember, the fewer decisions you have, the less anxiety you will have while organizing. And the way to make decisions fewer and easier, the first way, let me renumber these so it does not look so weird. So the first way is, remember that clutter is just delayed decisions. So you want to make your decision right away. Don't put it off. So as you're organizing, do not put things aside to decide in just a minute or in a little bit or later. Make sure when you grab something, pick it up, make your decision, put it in your donate bin, in your wait and see bin, or put it away. And that way your brain gets into the habit of making decisions right away versus delaying them, because the more you delay your decisions, the more your brain tries to hold on to the fact that there's this decision to be made, and the more your brain feels jumbled and like you've got so many things to do, versus when you make a decision, it increases your confidence and it lets your brain let go of it, because it just knows that it's done. So the more you give yourself that done feeling in your brain, the more your brain can relax. Not only that, but those decisions will then become easier. If you're making your decision right away, then you are making decisions on a regular basis. And the more regularly you make those decisions, the more your brain's in the practice of making those decisions, and they become easier. You have the answers faster because you've done this before, versus saving them all until a big cleanup day and you're doing all these decisions in one day and it's not consistent over time. Then your brain does not have a chance to practice. And it's all about practice, because really, even the Paper Path membership, if you're in the Paper Path, the course part is awesome because you have the path. The membership is the practice, right? So the membership is where we get together about once a week for a group hike, and we actually work on going through our action file and sorting our papers and filing and doing paper projects. The membership is where we talk about some of these various paper ideas and concepts. We talk about the course and the milestones. It's where we have the text messages to remind ourselves to do certain things and to encourage ourselves, and challenges. So the Paper Path membership is the practice portion that makes it so much easier because it's consistent versus doing things in chunks. So that was a very long recap of that, but it's a big, a really, really big concept that I love. For when people get it, that practice is so important, then it's just amazing. Not a problem, Rita. And hey, Julie, great to see you. So number 2 was write your decisions down. So it's great to practice making these decisions, and they will become easier and easier as you do it. You will start to remember what your decision is about that type of thing because you do it regularly. You make that decision regularly. But sometimes, if it's something you need to be consistent with, writing it down is going to help, especially at the beginning when you're first making these decisions. So for me, I know if I reorganize a dresser and I move things around in a dresser, I don't remember what decisions I made. I don't remember what drawers they are. So I use painter's tape on the front of the drawers to mark what's in each one until we're all used to it. And then once we know what's inside, then we take the painter's tape off and we don't need the labels anymore. It's the same thing with your decisions. Write your decisions down and use something like a paper policy. You know, what you decided to do with the paper, where you decided to store it, when you decided to dispose of it, or it works the same with digital. When you write it down, then you don't have to make that decision again, and you can be consistent. You won't accidentally make a decision differently the next time. We do this a lot with digital files because you can't see it. So sometimes you put it in this folder and then sometimes you put it in this folder. Now you've got 2 places for it. And that can make it a nightmare and really scary to go to digital. Cindy says, I've heard the touch it once method. Is Is that the KISS, keep it simple and sweet method? Maybe I'm confusing with another acronym. Oh my goodness, there are so many acronyms out there, right? So let me clear that up. So the only touch it once method, this is not the only touch it once method because, okay, so the only touch it once method means when a new paper comes into your life, for example, I'm using papers as an example, you would then make your decision on the paper and file it right that moment. So, and if you walk in the door, you've got papers in your hands, you're going to then take them and put them, walk to the back of the house to your office, file what needs to be filed, walk to the shredder, shred it. You're going to do everything to its final step right then. I am not a huge fan of the only touch it once method with most things. With some things, yes. You know, when you bring your shopping in, yes, put it away. You know, don't pull it out of the bag and leave it on the counter and walk off and then tomorrow move it to a different room. Try not to do that. But there are times where when life is overwhelming, you have to. So I'm not a big fan of only touch it once. What I am a fan of is make your decision only once and immediately. So for me, when the paper comes in, my decision would be, okay, I'm going to put this in the action file, or I'm going to shred this, or I'm going to recycle this. So we're not only touching it once and moving it all the way to the filing cabinet or all the way to our inbox. We're putting it in the action file, which is a step in the process. Just like the onion method, first do, keep, or go. If we tried to do all of our paper sorting with only touch it once, you would drive yourself nuts if you had boxes of papers and you're trying to file them into 5 million files. And then the keep it simple method it's not really a method, it's more of a mindset. And love that mindset. We do anything that you're looking at, think about how can I make this simpler? You know, like when I first started trying to keep track of the pantry levels, you know, I first started off by trying to have an app that I tried to sync with my husband and list everything. And then I thought, okay, how can I make this simpler? Until I finally got to why don't I tape a piece of paper into the cupboard where I'm already at and handwrite it so I don't need a computer. I can do it right at that moment. So keep it simple is just always looking at your methods and thinking, how can I make this simpler? Is there a way to take a step out or make it a little bit easier? So there's 3 different things. So there's only touch it once, which work for some things like your shopping bags, not always great for things like papers, especially if you're sorting. Keep it simple is the mindset, and you're just reviewing your things to see if you can keep it simple. And then make your decisions only once and immediately is what we're talking about. So decide what you're going to do with that item. And you don't need to make it to its final step. You just need to get it to its next step. Yeah. So Cindy says, that's good. I'm not a fan. Yeah. And it works for some people, you know, if you got that perfect filing system and it's something that you've got everything meticulous in your home and that's your thing. Awesome. Like rock on, super excited. That's not who I am. And that's not who most of my people are. Most of my people, we need those intermediate steps. And yeah, I love it. All right, so we talked about clutter's delayed decisions. So you're going to make your decisions right away, immediately, and get them to at least that first level and use donate bins and wait and see bins. We talked about writing your decisions down using a paper policy or reminders in your kitchen cabinets, things like that, which leads us to putting reminders where they will find you, such as having the reminder in your kitchen cabinet, having your paper policy in your action file where you're already sorting through papers, putting home maintenance checklist into your holiday decoration bins or wherever you might be a couple times a year. Another thing that I like to do, I actually sign up for Subscribe and Save with Amazon. And once a month, they deliver batteries. Now, it just automatically sends me batteries once a month. That's because once a month, I have to change the security camera batteries. And once a month, I like to check batteries in different areas. So when the batteries arrive, that's my reminder. And I can then go and replace all the batteries because I made the decision that that's when I'm going to replace the batteries. Okay, Renee asked, what is the action file? So I won't go really in depth into it right now, but if you head over to the Facebook group, let me put the Facebook group. It's the Home Organizing Challenges with Suzanna Kaye group. That's the long, what's it called? URL. but I'll try to add a clickable link. I don't know if it will work from here. I tried to add it in the comments. We will see if it actually worked. But if you head over to the Facebook group, Home Organizing Challenges with Suzanna Kaye, and you can ask that question there, and we can all post the full guide link for you. I don't remember where that guide is in particular. But the action file is a desktop file holder that can sit on a countertop or near your entryway, or it can even hang on the wall. It's not a specific one, but it has a folder for every paper that can come into your home. So it's all based on the actions, the next action for the paper. So you would have like a to-do folder, anything that you actually have to do something with, a to enter folder if you just need to enter the information somewhere else, to read, to file, if you don't have a shredder nearby, to shred. So it's 10 or fewer folders, and every paper that comes in, you can either go and recycle, shred, or write in that action file. And that way you aren't running to the file cabinet constantly. You aren't losing papers that are to do because they get shuffled around, and it's super helpful. It's also one of the first steps in the paper path. So if you're in the email list, if you're on my email list, then actually right now I have email, what's it called? An email only promotion, like an open cart period only for the people on my email list for the paper path course. So until Saturday, if you're on my email list, you've probably gotten an email saying that there is an opening to register for the paper path course and membership until this Saturday, just because it won't be open again until I think the end of March or something like that next year. So if you are not already on the email list, make sure to hop on to join the email list if you're interested in joining the paper path, if you're not already a Pathfinder. But I see that a lot of you already are, which is super awesome. Let me also share, I have a gift for you, and that is my gift planner worksheet. So my gift planner worksheet is something, and I'm going to post a link in the comments right now, but I'll also add it as a banner if you want to type it in. And it's also in the Facebook group. This link will take you to my free download of Gift Planner. So if you wanted this checklist to help you plan out your gifts for your holidays, it's free to download. Just go to that link, and it's only going to be available for, I think it's the next 7 days. I think it's the next 7 days. I don't remember the exact expiration. So that link is going away soon. But it's SuzannaKaye.live/gift-planner-worksheet. If you go to that link within the next 7 days, and today is November, I think it's the 11th, 2021, if you're watching the replay, then it might not be there if you get there too late. But download the free gift planner worksheet from that link. That's just kind of my free bonus little gift for you, because it's so helpful to have these types of checklists to write down your decisions. Because when you're writing down your decisions, even with like gift planning and holiday planning, this is a huge time where trying to keep it all in your head, it's just, there's something that will get missed, and it'll keep you overwhelmed and tired. So writing down your decisions about the holidays, especially this year when you're going to have to get gifts and supplies much earlier, because places will run out of supplies more thanks to COVID, and shipping will be a lot slower thanks to COVID and all the different things going on. So grab your stuff early. Yeah, somebody says it's probably too late to buy bins for storing Christmas items for after Christmas. Yeah, after Christmas, it's a hard time to get them. So you want to get those sooner rather than later too. And you can probably stop by somewhere like, what's it called? Big Lots around here, or Walmart, that type of place that they usually have inexpensive bins. And now's the time to get them because they will go fast. Yeah, Cindy her mom has a list for paper supplies. I think Subscribe and Save, like toilet paper and such. Yeah, I do my toilet paper and stuff by Subscribe and Save too. You're so welcome, Renee. Cindy says, wow, you have a lot of members in your group. Yeah, I do. In the group, there's like over 15,000 people in the Facebook group. It's wonderful. It's so much fun. And we do like challenges, and we have a lot of fun in there. Right now we have a digital declutter challenge going on in the Facebook group. So if you've not already joined, then now's a fun time to join. And it's just a tiny little thing a day. Pamela says, what's a good strategy if the action file gets cluttered? check over in the Paper Path campfire group or in the online library for Pathfinders, because I have several videos on that. I'm not going to go into that right now, but over at the noon, in about 15 minutes at noon in the campfire group, I will be doing another Thursday talk just for you guys about papers and paper decisions. So I'll hop over there and I can go much more in depth. Sorry, I can't go too in depth here because we're about to wrap it up. Yeah, Brenda says, perfect for my Christmas stars. Yeah, Karen says, I have a holiday binder with ideas. I just printed your gift list to go in it. Yay! Karen says, thanks for the free gift. You're so welcome. Oh, Brenda's doing the declutter challenge. She says she got rid of 21 apps today. Yay! Oh, it feels so good, doesn't it? Catherine, I appreciate how good you are at doing this and helping us. Thank you. I'm grateful in Seattle. You're so welcome. Renee says, this is my first live with you. Are there more lives that I can watch on replay? And where are you from? I'm in Texas. I am in Orlando, Florida. And but I was born in Iowa. I'm an Iowa girl at heart as well. And I'm so glad that you're here for the first time. That's super exciting. You can absolutely watch more lives. There are lives in the Facebook group. They're kind of hard to find within the Facebook group sometimes. I think that there might be one of the guides for it. But if you head over to the YouTube channel, then in my YouTube channel, you can see the playlist of the past Thursday talks. Cindy says, I have way too many papers on my bedroom floor. It's embarrassing. Oh, don't be embarrassed. I'm sure that you are not the only one here who has a bunch of papers in your bedroom or that you've got somewhere that you're embarrassed by. Trust me, you are not alone. But that's what the paper path is for. So if you're on the list, I think that you're already a Pathfinder. I don't remember. But if you're not, then check that out in your email just until Saturday. You can join the paper path course. But also tonight, if you've not already signed up, tonight is the Holiday Planning Like a Pro webinar. And during the Holiday Planning Like a Pro, not only will we talk about the gift planner and you'll get another chance to grab that download during the webinar, but we are talking about planning out the holidays, the mental side as well as the how-to side. So I'm going to share some of my favorite apps for things like planning gifts. I'm also going to share a download for my holiday mental plan. This really helps get you in the right mindset of getting through your holidays and structuring your holidays in the way that you want them to be so that you can find joy in your way through your holidays. So the mental plan is a download that you will get during the webinar tonight. Also, we will go through my holiday meal plan. If you do any kind of large meals or want to plan out your day of holiday meals, then this guide, I think it's like 6 or 8 pages. This is what I use. I've used for years for all of my big holiday meals. So the turkey and all the family and all of that. We'll go through that. I will give you that download as well, only during the webinar. And right now, if you join the webinar, register for it before 6 p.m. Eastern tonight, it's $25. And you will get a replay or you can attend live, whichever. Even if you attend live, you'll get a replay. Anybody who's registered will get a replay. And then after it ends tonight, then the price goes up to $30 and it's only available for 60 days in the online store. So if you do want to join me, like I said, it's happening tonight live and you will get a replay if you register ahead of time. You'll save $5 by registering ahead of time, but join me for the holiday planning like a pro. We're going through not just, we're going to do the lists and the downloads and the mental side of it and really do a deep dive into making those holiday plans so much easier. Cindy says it's nice and warm in Florida. It is. We had a cold snap and I wish it would come back. I love the cold, but yes, it is nice and warm in Florida. Cindy asks, how much is the course? The Paper Path course is, I believe right now it's only $200, like $199, I think. It's about to go up at the beginning of next year when it opens again. I believe the price will be going up. So if you do want it also, now is the chance to grab it if you're at all interested. I can't promise that in March it will be as inexpensive as it is right now. So it's either $150 or $200. I don't remember off the top of my head. And Catherine says, how do I know if I'm a Pathfinder or not? I forgot. Not a problem. This is why we have reminders and all these things, right? So to find out if you're a Pathfinder, when you go to suzannakaye.com, to my website, then you can, in the top right, click login. If you have a login, then you will see all the things that you've ever purchased from me that are library-based items. Webinars won't be there, but anything else would be there, like Spark Life Binder, things like that. So if you can log in and you see that there are products in there, then you would see the PaperPath course, the PaperPath membership, those would be in there. If you don't see them in there and you can log in, then you are not a member. If you can't log in, if it says that it does not recognize your login, then most likely you are not a member. That means that you've never bought anything that had a library component to it. If you want to make sure, we can always look it up for you. Just shoot me an email. So my email is hello@suzannakaye.com. I think I've got that for the screen here. So you can also email me, send me, your email address that you normally use to subscribe to things, and then we can always check and just verify for you whether you're a member or not. And if you are a member, that's how you log in, suzannakaye.com, and then click login at the top right. Oh, yay. Karen says, I won a golden ticket and she's looking forward to the holiday planning webinar. Yay. So the golden ticket that Karen won in our Facebook group, remember Home Organizing Challenges with Suzanna Kaye, in that Facebook group, once a month, we pick somebody who's been just extra encouraging and wonderful in the group and just being that shining spark in the group. And we give them what we call a golden ticket, which is free admission to an upcoming webinar. And Karen was such a wonderful supporter last month and in the group that she was the one who won the golden ticket. So yay, I'm so excited that you're going to join me. Perfect. Oh, and Karen says, I love my Spark Life Binder. Yay. Yes, the Spark Life Binder is fantastic. I think we've reached over 1,000 people with the Spark Life Binder now. And we hear so many good things about how people are using it. And we got exciting new things coming for it. We're working on a printed copy. So being able to buy a printed version instead of just digital for hopefully the next time it opens in January. If not, then the time after that. But yeah, exciting things coming. I absolutely love the Spark Life Binder too. Don't know what I would do without it. All right. Well, if you have any other questions, then please, whether it's the replay or if you're live right now, then post them in the comments and I will try to answer any comments once this is over or in this last few minutes. If you are a Pathfinder, so if you're a member of the Paper Path, then in a couple minutes, I will be over in your private Facebook Campfire group. So go over to Facebook, hit Campfire, like search Campfire if you don't already have it bookmarked. And I'll be live over there and we'll talk about decision-making only once with papers and specifically about your paper policy. If you enjoyed what you heard today, make sure to, hit the little heart, the thumbs up button, subscribe if you want to make sure to get notifications next time I'm live. If you're on Facebook, I think there's a little bell to make sure to follow and actually get the notifications. And then on YouTube, hit the subscribe button so that way you can make sure to join me next time. And I'm here every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you next time. I love you so, so much. You're doing absolutely amazing. And I look forward to seeing you during tonight's webinar because these downloads alone are going to be so worth the price of admission, but there's so much more than just the downloads. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And you're so welcome, Terry, who says thanks. I absolutely love you all. Have a beautiful, wonderful day.